Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Welcome to our 365 daily devotion. At ngayong umaga ay patuloy natin pag-aaralan ng ating series na The Power of Vision. At ang paksa natin na ipinamagatang Vision narrows down our focus. Ang paksa natin ay magmumula sa Philippians chapter 14 Philippians chapter 3 verses 13 to 14. Sabi dito, "My brethren, I count at myself to apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. I press down before the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus." Mga kapatid, hindi ko sinasabing natamo ko na ito. Pero isang bagay ang ginagawa ko, kinakalimutan ko ang mga nakaraan at nagsusumikap akong marating ang nasa hinaharap. Sumasabay ako sa hangin ng Diyos at ang gantimpala sa kanyang mataas na pagtawag sa akin kay Kristo Jesus. So, ang paksa natin ay merong katuruan na una, vision tells us our priority. So in the verse, Paul reveals the power for having a singular focus. For him, the most important goal in life is knowing Christ and fulfilling God's calling. So this vision becomes his top priority and everything else fades into the background. So vision is not just a vague idea. It is a clear direction, that tells us what is most important and where we should devote our time and energy. So when we have a clear vision, it helps us establish our priorities, allowing us to focus on what truly matters rather than being distracted by lesser pursuits. Without a vision, it's easy to let our time and energy be pulled in multiple directions, leading to confusion and a lack of fulfillment. But when we know our purpose and our ultimate goal, it's easier to make decisions that align with God's plan for our lives. So in our lives, having a vision from God clarifies our purpose and reminds us of our priorities. So our priorities should reflect the calling that God has placed on our lives. Vision gives us focus on this, ensuring that our actions align with our mission. So like Paul, we need to focus on the prize of the high calling that God has set before us and let that vision guide every decision. Second is vision simplifies our lives. So in this passage, Paul demonstrates the power of simplicity. He says, "This one thing I do." He does not try to do everything, but rather focuses on one ultimate pursuit. So vision allows us to simplify our lives by cutting away that what doesn't align with God's purpose. The clearer our vision, the more we can simplify our lives by saying no to the unnecessary and yes to the essential. So when we simplify our lives, we find freedom from the pressure to accomplish everything or please everyone. Instead, we become more effective and find joy in focusing on what matters most. A simplified life is less cluttered, less stressful, and more purposeful. So we can let go of unnecessary activities and possessions, allowing us to pour our time, energy, and resources into what truly counts. A life simplified by vision is one that is aligned with God's plan. So when we know our purpose, we can avoid the distractions that pulls us away from God. Vision helps us to let go of the excess, freeing us to live with focus and direction. So like Paul, we can confidently say, "This one thing I do," and find satisfaction in pursuing our God-given mission. Third teaching is vision concentrates our energy. Vision is not only about knowing where we're going, but also about putting our energy into the pursuit. Paul speaks of reaching forth unto those things which are before and pressing toward the mark. So vision allows us to concentrate our efforts, focusing all our energy on reaching our God-given goal, rather than scattering our energy in different directions. We can concentrate it on what truly matters. When we have a vision, we're able to focus our time, effort, and resources on fulfilling that vision, just as a runner focuses all their strength on reaching the finish line. We too can dedicate ourselves to moving forward in calling. Vision enables us to avoid burnout and fatigue, as it prevents us from wasting energy on pursuits that don't align with God's purpose. Paul's vision concentrated his energy on knowing Christ and serving Him, and this gave him the strength to persevere through hardship and opposition. Similarly, when we focus our energy on God's vision for our lives, we find strength and resilience. Concentrating our energy on God's vision allows us to accomplish more and experience a sense of fulfillment as we work toward the goal He has set for us. So what is our application here? First is to prioritize what matters for God. So in a world filled with distractions, it's crucial to set priorities based on God's vision. Ask yourself, what matters most to God in my life? So when we prioritize God's purpose, we're able to align our actions with His will. Like Paul, who made Christ his primary focus, we too must prioritize our relationship with God, our growth in faith, and our impact on others. So one practical way to prioritize what matters is by setting goals that reflect God's calling. Take time to write down what you believe God's calling you to do and make it a priority in your daily life. By focusing on these goals, you can avoid the distractions that often pull us away from God's plan. Remember, priorities are reflected in how we spend our time, energy, and resources. Align this with God's vision, and you will be able to live a life that honors Him. Second is to simplify life by trimming it down. So with a clear vision, we can simplify our lives by letting go of what doesn't serve God's purpose. To take an honest look at your life and identify areas that are cluttered with unnecessary activities or distractions. Ask yourself, what can I remove to create more space for God's vision? So this may mean reducing time spent on entertainment, decluttering your schedule, or reevaluating relationships and commitments. So simplifying life is not about reducing joy. It's about creating room for greater joy in fulfilling God's purpose. So by removing the excess, we allow ourselves to focus fully on what matters most. As you simplify your life, remember that each choice you make is a step toward a life of clarity and purpose. Embrace the freedom that comes from saying no to distractions and yes to the vision God has placed before you. Concentrate your time and energy. That is our last application. So a focused life is a powerful life. Concentrate your efforts on the goals that align with God's vision. So just as Paul did when pressed toward the prize, avoid scattering your energy on things that don't lead you toward God's purpose. This might mean focusing more on specific tasks or ministries that God has called you to, and saying no to activities that don't contribute to your vision. To concentrate your time and energy, start by organizing your day around your God-given goals. Set aside time for prayer, Bible study, and service to others. So make these things a priority and invest your time and energy in pursuing them wholeheartedly. When we concentrate our energy in God's vision, we were able to accomplish more, avoid burnout, and experience deeper fulfillment. Like Paul, you can press toward the mark with focus, determination, and purpose.